Welcome to the No Glue Podcast, episode 181. We are here after game 3 of the NBA Finals. Obviously, that is all we're talking about today, at least for the majority of the time. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Tyler.
I'm Mike.
So, great finals so far, I would say. A lot of excitement.
Been an interesting 3 games.
Very interesting. So we're going to run through the first 2 games briefly, and then obviously we're going to touch on game 3, which just happened, and our thoughts on what's going to happen moving forward. So game 1. What did you think about game 1? Just give me a brief synopsis of game 1 for you.
I liked how the Warriors came out. Looked rested. Steph looked locked in.
Yeah.
Their ball movement was a lot better than Boston.
Yep.
For the first 3 quarters.
Yeah.
And that's kind of been a theme of the series so far. Boston completely destroyed them in a single quarter.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think we watched a game like that the whole playoffs.
Yeah, right. You can look at it. Well, I'll wait till you're finished. You keep going with your synopsis.
It's just Boston was in the game while not playing well for such a long time.
Right.
And all of a sudden, the right role players hit the right shots and they started getting stops. And they started making the extra passes every time.
Yeah.
And the Warriors had no answer.
See, I look at it as the Warriors completely crumbled in that fourth quarter. The thing is, the Celtics could play good against them and could, play good defense against them, but holding them to, under 20 points in a quarter.
No, I want to remember what you said. I believe, how many did they score? It was 16, something like that, 14?
14, yeah, I believe, yeah.
If I recall, somebody was talking about there's no way that happens again.
I didn't believe it would happen again. No way. And now,
okay, shocking.
We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
This whole quarter, I just didn't see any of what Boston used to dominate that fourth quarter earlier in the game.
Right. I would agree with that. Yes. Yeah.
All of a sudden, it's like they flipped the switch that I was counting on the Warriors to have.
See, but like you said, you liked how the Warriors started, not how bad. You didn't say how bad Boston was playing because they weren't playing like trash. Warriors started playing good and then stopped playing good. Like it to me, it wasn't like Boston was, playing like they should get blown out and then all of a sudden start playing better. They did play really good in the fourth quarter. I mean, they played spectacular, but also the Warriors just stopped making any shots, and like we said, we'll get further into it. So game 2.
Yeah. And real quick, last point on this fourth quarter before game 2.
Yeah.
The narrative of it is that Boston just kind of got hot and made a lot of shots. But initially, it was Jaylen Brown who sparked them back into the game.
Yeah, it was. Absolutely.
And that was something that went unnoticed, how it didn't really matter who they put on Jaylen Brown. He attacked and got to the basket, created shots, and all of a sudden they were back in the game.
Right. Al Horford was fantastic. Yeah. Jason Tatum shot bad and had career-high assists.
Yeah.
So, second game, still in Golden State.
Yes.
This game didn't start out. This game didn't start out too, lopsided. I thought it was a really, really, really good game for pretty much the first half.
Yeah.
Of this game, and then the second half, everyone on Boston was MIA, and the Warriors were just clicking on all cylinders. This was a really, really physical game on the Warriors side. They started out missing layups, and then by the second half, they were just attacking everyone. I think they played really good defense, and Boston turned the ball over a lot. And they weren't first half there were a lot of turnovers that were unforced, and then the second half I think there were more forced because maybe they were a little more desperate to get in the game, so the turnover seemed more forced. And then the Warriors, man, everyone was hitting, man. I mean, Poole played good. Everyone except Clay. Clay played terrible this whole game.
Yeah.
Poole played great. Steph played great.
Otto.
Draymond's IQ was on a high in this game. He was fantastic. Otto played good. Yeah, so Warriors came out and I mean, they punched him in the mouth in the second game for sure.
It's funny. It's funny in the second game, Boston like struggled to find a balance between moving the ball and attacking mismatches.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought as they struggled, like I think it was only a one possession game at half, maybe a couple possessions.
Yeah.
But in the third quarter, as the Warriors, like you said, were clicking on all cylinders, Boston is forcing mismatches.
Yeah.
Like Golden State guys that are experienced players, they know how to get stops. You can't you have to switch it up if Jalen can't score on whoever's checking him, if Tatum can't score, if Smart can't score. And they really couldn't even create good shots.
Yeah, and it was kind of weird that the role players took themselves out of this game, it felt like to me. Like I didn't see really any threats on the court other than Tatum and Brown in the whole second half. I mean, and normally this is a Boston team that has 5 threats on the court at all times. They only had 2 in this particular game.
And a lot of the guys that didn't play well, I think with the exception of Derek White, didn't even take a lot of shots.
Right. Yeah.
Smart made a single shot. He only took 5 or 6.
I think he took 6. Yeah, I think he's 1 for 6.
It was surprising to see after, especially what they did just the last quarter of the first game. Horford's not involved for long stretches. Smart not involved. It was just kind of a difference in what they had been doing.
Right. Yep. So now
we get to this game.
Game 3. Great game. So give me your summary of this game. Or we can do it together, whatever.
I'm trying to think where I want to start with this game.
Started out to me with Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart were very, very aggressive on both ends. Tatum played good too. I mean, he took shots and he took all open shots, but I think Brown and Smart were attacking their defender every time down court, which was especially awkward for Smart, who hasn't been doing that in the series so far. He was going right at Steph, getting Steph in foul trouble really early, which made Steph, lack on defense for the rest of the night. And then Brown, every mismatch Brown got, he went right at everybody. I mean, it didn't matter. Draymond, Wiggins, Steph, Clay, everybody. Yeah, he looks fantastic.
And the guy you didn't mention, who, and I guess this would be Kerr's first mistake, and if he probably made it several, but it was about 2 minutes of watching him play. I could have told you Gary Payton really shouldn't have been in this game.
Okay, tell me why.
With how Jaylen Brown got going, Gary Payton wasn't the guy to throw out there as like the second matchup guy.
Right, I agree. Yeah.
That to me, even when he's there, Brown is shooting over him, Tatum is shooting over him. It was tough, and he's on the other end missing layups, missing dunks.
Again, they missed, I want to say 5 layups in the first half. I mean, Robert Williams was blocking shots, so obviously he's a fantastic defender. So people think about the layup when they take one, but some of the layups they missed, man, were just so bad.
Just wide open.
Not as bad as game 2, but they were really, really, really bad.
Gary Payton's were awful.
He missed dunks. He missed 3 dunks.
Rim. At the rim. I mean, the one Robert Williams got there late, but the first one, he's literally at the rim with nobody there.
I know.
Bro, you're 2 hands.
And then the second one, he got fouled, but he barely got
Phantom
fouled.
foul.
Yeah.
Phantom foul.
He should have dunked it before White ever got to him to foul. Should have been through the basket already. And then the third one, I mean, he didn't get over the rim. Of course, I mean, if Robert Williams is there, you have to dunk like you're dunking on everybody. Like you have to go with conviction.
100%. Or you got a pump fake.
Anything. He goes for every single pump fake, and they don't pump fake. I don't understand. He goes for all of them.
That was the bizarre thing, attacking Robert Williams straight on him. Like, you guys know you're less athletic than they are, right? Like, why would you attack probably the best shot blocker in the league at this moment?
Every time, and I'm not saying they should hurt Robert Williams, but every time Robert Williams has gotten hurt, it's from him trying to block a shot he can't reach. Yeah. Like, you look at the last 4 times he's went down, it's him trying to block a shot or him coming down trying to block a shot and landing on somebody or someone landing on him while 100%. He's blocking a shot. So, I mean, yeah. So that was the first half. Boston was very aggressive. Draymond did not get as much leeway as he did in the second game to be physical. He was very, very physical the second game. This game, there's a lot of calls on Draymond that were rightfully so. And sometimes Draymond just took fouls, which maybe he shouldn't have, looking back on it. Is there
problem is on your foul point is a Golden State's most important player got in on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because Steph, and he didn't get subbed out, but he should have multiple times.
Right. I would say Draymond and Steph are their 2 most important players in this particular series, and both of them were in foul trouble early on. Do you have any like other main themes of the first half of this game?
I mean, in the first quarter, like Boston attacked mismatches well, and they mixed it up. They also moved it well.
Mm-hmm.
In the second quarter, I mean, Steph was getting hunted.
Yeah, he was.
I mean, it was just like specifically him.
Yep.
I mean, Tatum had started out missing some good shots, and all of a sudden, a few possessions with Steph on him, he's pulling up from 3, taking him straight to the basket, layup. Yep. And because Steph got in foul trouble, like you mentioned, he couldn't do anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he's not an overwhelming weak link like Trae Young is.
Right.
But he is undersized.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not trying to make excuses for the Warriors, but there was a huge difference between how this game was called and how last game was called, referee-wise. Or at least Boston took more advantage of how it was called in this game than they did in the last one. Because it's not that Boston was getting called for a lot of stuff in game 2, but the Warriors just weren't getting called for stuff. And in this game, Warriors were getting called for everything, and Boston was being like using their athleticism to be physical, but without fouling more. So the refs just worked better in their favor this time. Not saying that it had anything to do with the game winning or not, but you could see that, okay, if we could just use our athleticism without them being able to be more physical, Boston wins that game every time if the Warriors can't do that, But third quarter, I would say the Splash Brothers and the pool party showed up in the third quarter. Steph was on fire. Clay was on fire. Poole came in and had good minutes. He wasn't on fire, but he had good minutes. And they brought it to, a 3-point game at one point?
It might have been 2-point game, yeah. I think coming into the fourth quarter, it was 4-point game.
I believe so.
If I'm right, 89-93, was that the score?
Yeah, I think you're right. I'm trying to pull it up now. Yeah, it was. Yeah, first quarter was an 11-point game. Second quarter was a 12-point game. So it was a 12-point game at half, and then the Warriors outscored them by 8 in the third quarter. So it was a 4-point game. Yep.
And the third quarter was highlighted by, for some reason, Al Horford just decided to deviate from the game plan
and back up on every high screen.
Like it was like old young D Rose coming off the screen.
Right. And then
like it was LeBron coming off the screen. Like, what are you doing?
And every time he did try to challenge, honestly, he could have got called for more fouls than the one he did get called for, in my opinion. He did it more than once. That one was just the most like egregious because it was the most wide open. He had to jump into Steph almost every time. And that was too far.
He was so far away.
Yeah.
It made no sense. And Robert Williams did it a couple times also. But that, along with them like struggling to match up with Clay on the screens, it was just simple defensive breakdowns.
I'm not sure if there was anything they could have did about Clay. Clay was really feeling it. I mean, sometimes they were on Clay. Clay just
couple of them, yeah. You know, he made a
quick
couple
trigger.
Ones.
Yeah, but no, you're right. You're right. It was a lot of defensive breakdowns on the screens that resulted in easier shots for the Warriors, at least than what they got in the first half. So it started to look like, okay, well, the Warriors, they're back in this 4-point game. And then
what happened?
The fourth quarter comes, and this is something we've talked about Kerr for the last, obviously for this series, but for even the last series, Kerr has some questionable substituting, and the Warriors, man, the turnovers were just so disgusting in the fourth quarter, man. It was like the turnovers were so ridiculous. And then they weren't getting back, and it was just Boston just lit them up, man. 11 points. The thing is, Boston didn't like go crazy.
No,
they only had they had their smallest, their lowest scoring quarter as well in this, in this game.
Yeah,
but the Warriors just played so bad, fourth quarter, so bad. What did you think about just the fourth quarter?
I'm struggling to figure out because again, that game one, fourth quarter, I was like, wow, like the Warriors are just awful. What are they doing?
Yeah.
And now it's happening again. And Boston is capitalizing off of it every time. Like this time, last time Boston was hot. So the lead just ballooned. This time, even though Boston wasn't hot, they took control of the game in like 4 minutes.
Warriors had 8 turnovers in the fourth quarter.
That's sick.
That's crazy. It's so crazy. 8 turnovers. Steph had 3, Poole had 3, Wiggins had 1, and Juan Toscano-Anderson had 1 in garbage time. And, Draymond really didn't even play the fourth quarter. I mean, barely. So
I just, watching that fourth quarter, I'm like, wow, Boston is just better. My heart was right.
See, but you had Warriors in 7, right?
I took my head, picked the Warriors in 7, and I'm sticking with that.
Gotcha. Yeah. And the Warriors looked so immature in the last 2 fourth quarters. I think I said this about the Boston last series. You can't beat them if they don't beat themselves, right? I've said that multiple times. But Warriors, if you're going to beat yourself for Boston,
it's over. It's over.
Yeah. If you're going to beat yourself for Boston, what are we watching the game for? Why are we wasting our time? Because Boston played okay in the fourth, but they did not play good enough for the Warriors to play as bad as they played. I didn't see a lot of like straight up lockdown defense. It was just, oh, look, there's Poole. I'm just going to throw it 3/4 court right into Robert Williams' hands. Oh,
I mean, Steph had 3 in a row at one point.
Yeah.
I'm watching. And
Poole had 2 in a row.
I'm watching. I'm like, yo, get it on the rim, please. Like Clay, it takes Clay a millisecond to get the ball off.
Yeah.
please just get shots on the rim. And it's just behind the back turnover into Draymond's legs, turnover. Just a bad idea. Like, we're spinning into traffic. Steph, you're supposed to be the only real point guard out there.
Wiggins just, I don't know how Wiggins just threw the ball out of bounds that one time on the sideline. We pull right, like, he jumps and throws like a bounce pass into the floor seats. Like, what are we doing? And that, again, these turnovers were not caused by Boston. These are just dumb turnovers. Some of them were like, okay, they're getting pressured, so they made some bad dribble moves. I can understand that if you had 2 or 3 turnovers like that in a quarter, but 8, come on, man. It's just terrible. So, I mean, the Warriors quit with 3 minutes on the clock. They were done.
Yeah. Could have been done a minute or two before that.
Yeah. Juan Toscano Anderson came in at 2:20. That was ball game. I use him as the metric. If he gets out there, it's over.
Let's talk about it. Just like, give me things you like so far from Golden State that you could see moving forward.
Things I liked from this game?
Yeah. That you could see translating into the rest of the series.
Clay, they have like a certain play for Clay that gets him open every single time. And I think that would work for a long time. Like, every game I could see it working if Clay can shoot, but he gets open for a shot. It's like a weird handoff screen, just like within 8 feet. Like, it's like a 8 feet. You know what I'm talking about, in the corner?
Yeah.
If they could get that going every time, that's nice. Defensively, I see nothing. Nothing that I like that could go forward in the series. I guess, well, when you ask that, I guess if the high ball screen, if the Boston is going to play it how they did in this game, I could see the Warriors scoring off that for the rest of the series. But if they don't play it, I could see the Warriors getting to the basket for the rest of the series. Their high screen is hard to stop no matter what. So that's it, though. I know, the point you're making is really not much, right?
I just think Boston dictates the outcome of this series entirely. And I thought I wouldn't be able to say that. But the Warriors, this is the second quarter. This is the second crucial quarter that they throw the game away in every facet.
Would you argue that Boston threw the game away in the third quarter game too?
Not as much as Steph and Poole took it.
I got you.
To me, so that was a lot more like, because the Warriors got into such a rhythm offensively, Boston looked really bad when they struggled to score.
Right.
But like, again, this was so much worse. Yeah. This was so much worse than game 1 for Boston. Like, the fourth quarter in game 1. And it's the athleticism difference is starting to like show in these games.
This wasn't worse than fourth quarter game 1 for me because it was a close game. Like, they were on a roll in the third quarter and then blew it in the fourth. Like, they were getting in this game, I'm saying. In the first game, they were up a lot, like and
10,
blew
12.
It.
Yeah.
Yeah. This one, they were just coming back. Like, they were going up and then just hit the top of the roller coaster and flew down in game 3. But in first game, like, they were up and just all they had to do was just play basketball for a quarter, and they couldn't even do that. But I get your point, but the fact that it's not all Boston's fault, like, Boston isn't taking these games, Warriors are just handing it to them on a silver platter, tells me that all the Warriors have to do is not do that. Like, if Boston just if Boston really came out with a quarter and just like completely dominated the Warriors in the fourth, I would completely agree with you. But they haven't really dominated the Warriors in any quarter this series.
I thought they
Not like
dominated the first quarter
of this game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was more like a visual domination than it was like a like it looked bad because Steph was getting picked on. I think it looked worse than like what the Warriors not being able to come back from, to me. And maybe it's just because it's the first quarter. But could they do that in the fourth quarter? I don't know. Warriors haven't lost a third quarter of this series yet.
You know what's weird is I've been right. I called game one that it was going to be a Boston blowout. Just didn't know it would be a quarter.
Yeah.
But I thought
only one quarter.
Right.
Yeah.
That was shocking. I was laughing about it with people for work just because I was like, yeah, my prediction was right, but not like that. That's not what I meant.
Yeah.
But I wonder how Golden State continues to adapt to Boston. Because Boston has options. Everybody Boston puts in the game can contribute, can guard, can do different things. I mean, Gary Payton just spent an entire game not being able to check anybody.
See,
you think that's going to get better?
No, it's not going to get better.
It's not going to get better. Draymond just spent an entire game not being able to keep Robert Williams off the boards.
Right. But this brings us to the overarching issue of this series so far. It's coaching. Steve Kerr is getting completely outcoached this series.
This is what I was gonna like really get to the end. But
okay.
I can't believe I was so wrong on this.
On what?
On Udoka outcoaching Steve Kerr for the first 3 games of this series.
He may outcoach him for 5 games of this series the way it looks. It is ridiculous, man. And the thing is, I could see people arguing, oh, well, Kerr comes out with adjustments at halftime every, third quarter. They win the third quarters. They've dominated every third quarter. Dominated. But, you can't win the game. You're up going into the fourth. You can't win the game. Or you're only down 3 going into the fourth, or down 4 going into the fourth. You can't win the game. I mean, can't even come close to winning. The closer the game is, the more likely it's a blowout. Come on, man.
I don't get it. Like, Kuminga can't touch the court.
Dude, I've seen, like, I'm not saying he's a good defender, but I've seen Damian Lee go out there and give effort to try to stop someone. I didn't see a lot of effort last night trying to stop people. Honestly.
That's where I'm really nervous is Golden State looks like they're getting worse defensively.
They do.
Like game 2 was almost entirely thanks to physicality.
Right.
It really was. Like Tatum, it actually helped them. I think I told you this. Tatum got hot in the second quarter for a while and just settled for fucking jumpers all day.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the team, when they're barely touching the ball, is just throwing something up.
Right.
But Golden State has not been able to stay in front of Jaylen Brown. Marcus Smart is coming off the screens and putting people in jail. I mean, Grant Williams is on the glass. Grant Williams is getting hook shots. I mean, yeah. Pritchard is hitting a big 3 every game.
That 3 last night was huge.
Huge. And White has played with more IQ than any point guard in Golden State for the most part of this series.
Yeah.
Certain things I thought would be Golden State advantages have not been at all.
Again, well, let's talk about some disadvantages we knew Golden State was going to have. For me, as a coach, when you have a disadvantage that everyone in the entire NBA knows, you try to find a way to combat that, right? you try to at least fill it to the point where, all right, we know we can't do this, so let's figure out a way to not let something like this happen. They know there's no inside shot blocking on Golden State. They know they're not an elite rebounding team, so normally everyone chips in to get rebounds. But if guys are getting layups the entire game, what are you doing? I mean, layups. And Brown and Tatum shot pretty good. No one else really shot great.
Smart.
I mean, Grant Williams hit a three or two. Good. Yeah, okay. I mean,
but he had a lot of turnovers.
And he had more layups than he did jump shots. So that's, you got guys just running to the basket. I think they had 52 paint points, if I'm not mistaken.
Doubled him up, right?
Yeah. 52 points in the paint.
Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and the thing is, bench points was about the same. 18 bench points to 20 bench points. That's what, I mean, the Warriors can hang with their bench, but look, offensive rebounds and the second chance points. I'm trying to find the second chance points.
They got destroyed on the second chance. I know they did. You don't even have to tell me the stat. It was minimum 20.
Yeah, they don't have them on this page. I looked at them earlier though. Second chance points.
I guess it was at least 20. I'd be willing to put like $20 on that.
22 second chance points by Boston and only 11 by the Warriors.
How many times Draymond Green is just standing there? Robert Williams is jumping over him to get the ball.
They got out rebounded by 16. As total rebounds, they got out rebounded on the offensive boards by 9. You can't win a game like that. That's just, and that's not something I think Boston does every night. If the Warriors go in, like the Warriors go out there and try their hardest, I don't think Boston like can do that every single time. But if Warriors are going out there and not focusing on that, that's what's going to happen.
You know what's interesting? Another thing I noticed in this game was you look at the 3 best players going toe to toe with each other.
Yeah.
And I'll say for the sake of argument, you know, it's not Poole, it's Draymond who's the third, and then it's Clay and Steph.
I thought you would say Wiggins.
Wiggins is a little bit different, and Poole is also a little bit different. But like again, just off of leadership, off of impact in certain areas of the game, I would say Steph, Clay, Draymond versus obviously Brown, Tatum, and Smart.
Okay.
Throughout the 3 games, Smart has done multiple things at a high level in certain stretches. Tatum of all people has done multiple things at a high level.
Yeah.
Brown has pretty much done multiple things. He's defended at a high level. He's scored at a high level pretty much the whole series so far.
Yeah.
He'd probably be my
Brown's
finals
the best
MVP
player.
So
yeah, I was
far.
going to say he's been the best player in the series so far, for sure.
Yeah. And the way he set a tone for them to start the game. But my point is, I'm looking at this game 3. Steph is scoring the ball and doing nothing else.
Right.
Nothing. Clay is taking a lot of shots. Okay, they're going in. He's not doing anything else.
Right.
I mean, Draymond is literally, who's supposed to be doing everything, is doing nothing.
Yeah.
Again, an advantage I thought Golden State would have. Steph's leadership rubs off on the team. Clay, Draymond, all their negative aspects are rubbing off on the team right now.
Right.
I mean, you see it. Steph is turning the ball over. All of a sudden, we have a disastrous turnover quarter. Draymond can't rebound. The whole team can't rebound.
Right.
I mean, when Clay was hot, other guys made shots like Otto. As soon as Clay cools off, nobody can make shots.
Yep.
Boston has so much more versatility than that.
Yeah, they do. They do.
That's why, to me, they dictate pretty much how the series is going to go.
I can see why if you're saying it in that way, I can see why you say that. Yes. Yeah. But the thing is, Warriors, they should have won the first game. There's no excuse for them losing the first game, to me. Zero excuse. This game, Boston played better. They're in Boston. They had Scott Foster last night.
I did notice that.
Boston is 13-0 with Scott Foster now. They have not lost to Scott Foster this playoffs. But Boston just played good last night. I mean, it is what it is. There's no excuse for the first game, though, no matter what. To be up that much and to lose by that much is just, it is what it is, man. I think Golden State can still win this regardless. I think both teams playing at their best, I think Golden State still wins. But down a game, you have to win 3 out of 4. They only have to win 2 out of 4. It's going to be tough.
You know what the problem is? The problem is, again, Boston was the inexperienced one coming in.
Yeah.
So I think if to your point, if you take game 1, now Boston has to respond to your wins.
Right.
And I don't have as much confidence that Boston could respond 3 to 4 times.
Right.
But now Golden State is in that position.
This game last night was the game that Golden State had to win, to me, to win this series. Because I think obviously it's going to come down to who wins 2 times in a row, in a way. So, or who can win 2 times in a row. And Golden State, had they won tonight, right? That's how it looks.
That's why I'm starting to lean towards Boston getting that last game.
I think if Warriors can adjust, I think their adjustments can carry over 2 games. And I do think Boston is a team that would have to adjust every single game. Just kind of how you said. I think Golden State could make an adjustment that could last more than just 1 game. I don't think Boston can. So,
yeah.
This is where you want to say anything more about the coaching?
Wiggins has played like your 3rd best player. And Clay has a lot of times played like one of your 2nd string role players.
Yeah.
Why are we only working hard to get Clay shots?
Last night, I don't know why Wiggins
had to go
so
get
bad.
Every shot he took.
He did. And the thing is, that was part of because he was shooting so bad from the perimeter. He shot bad from the 3 last night. Yeah, and even wide open shots. I'm like, man, Wiggins, you can't knock that down. He was 2 for 7 from 3. Was that last night or was that a game before? That must have been.
He missed a lot of mid ranges that he could easily make. Yes, last night.
Yeah. So, I mean, Wiggins is someone that he had a lot of dunks last night, a lot of layups, and that helped. But if he's not doing more than that, then yeah, I mean, it doesn't help. He's your 3rd All-Star this year. He is the guy. Wiggins is the guy who can do more things, and just for whatever reason, he didn't have it last night. But like you said, they didn't get him any shots. They did settle a lot. So their ball movement just overall this series has not been what it was coming into the series, to me, at least.
And you know what? I think some of that is Boston's game plan.
Think so? Why is that?
I do think like Boston has allowed their guys to get shots.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you would expect them to work hard to limit Steph's shots. They really haven't. They've tried to kind of put either Smart or White or maybe Brown on Steph and just kind of play straight up.
Yeah.
And that's why, to me, like, you're a lot more confident in a lot of Golden State's points because I think a lot of them have been off of Boston's breakdowns.
But I think Golden State has guys that I think how Golden State plays is breaking down defenses, though. They drive and you think you have to collapse, or they kick it out and 3 guys have to run out to Clay. No one knows who has to get to Clay if he's open. 3 guys run out there. He kicks it, and then somebody else is wide open. Like Porter has time to tie his shoes before he gets the shot off. That's just how they score on everybody, not just on Boston. They're just a team that you almost have to break down to play good defense again against, because they have so many weapons that are, nuclear weapons, not just like, Grant Williams. Sometimes Grant Williams open, they don't even run out there. Golden State.
And he makes them pay.
He does make them pay. But he's just not the nuclear weapon. Like, if Clay hits it, we have to run out there, because if he hits it one, he could hit all night like he did last night. So I think they kind of profit on teams breaking down often. But the thing is, Boston doesn't always break down, and then they struggle to score.
Let me ask you this. How does Draymond contribute more? Because I'm watching him struggle yesterday, and none of it surprised me at all.
Draymond has to hit a jump shot this series. If he doesn't hit,
so it's a wrap is what you're telling me.
No, there has to be a game where Draymond, listen, it doesn't have to be a 3. I've seen Draymond come in and get that free throw floater. He has to do something like that. He has to hit something from outside of the paint, or else there's no reason to guard him. There still might not be a reason to guard him, but if he's not hitting something like that, if he's getting fouled, anything like that, then it's not much he can do unless he's the full-time ball handler like he was game 2, which looked fantastic. But he didn't show that same IQ in last night's game. But game 2, he was ball handler a lot. He had a lot of assists. He had a lot of, that first pass that made an assist, the pass to assist. He had a lot of those. And he didn't have any of those last night, really, to me. It wasn't a lot of playmaking from him. He was just like a piece out there. Didn't look like they followed the same game plan of Draymond starting the offense.
I just didn't feel any intensity from him, to be honest.
No, he didn't have much.
Again, you're physical with Grant Williams, but you're not even trying to box out Robert. And then you're not really offering Brown's living at the rim. Tatum is almost living at the rim. I mean, White is getting there. Smart is getting there. There's got to be if you're going to waste your fouls, how about we stop wrestling for position beyond the 3-point line for an inbound?
Right.
Maybe give Robert Williams a shove to let him know that he can't just jump and get whatever he wants.
Right.
That to me is he can't slack on that any game from here on out.
No, he can't. He can't.
I think that was 2 of them.
That was one of the most notable things from last night, for sure, from game 3, was Draymond wasn't there. His aggression was not there. And like you said, the physicality just wasn't there. He didn't look like a bully last night. And that's when they play best, is when he's a bully. Yeah. But I do think on offense, Draymond has to score. Doesn't have to be 20, doesn't have to be 15.
But I need him at least, man. Jesus.
Yeah. At least
breaking those.
Right. And the thing is, I forgot when that was. I think it was the last playoff run that they went to the finals, when they lost to the Raptors. Draymond was floating people to death that year. Every series.
Portland was just demoralized by his floaters.
Yeah, where is that? He hasn't shot one this whole. I'm not sure if he shot any in his playoffs.
His whole offensive game has been removed.
I know, and the floater is there in this because everyone is helping. Everyone is they just open up the Red Sea when he has the ball. I mean, he need to take one dribble and shoot that floater, man. It's there. If he gets 3 of those in a night, that makes up a big difference because everyone has to guard him, and then no one's looking at the screens, the off-ball screens.
Yeah. Golden State, to your point, just can't have too many guys that aren't threats out there.
No, they can't.
Boston is going to abuse that.
And the other thing is, Draymond has to have some kind of chemistry with Looney, because a lot of times, like, I think Looney's points probably come from Draymond the least. Like the assists to him come from Draymond the least. And I don't know if that's on purpose or if that's just how it goes, but they have to find something where they get some kind of high-low in there, because when Looney has good games, they haven't lost. Looney played fantastic in the second game. And when they find Looney, they just play better. But Draymond, for some reason, never seems to find Looney, because he looks for just Clay and Steph and handoffs and that stuff. But Looney is there on the cuts. He has to find a way to get Looney involved as well. But the thing is, we have to remember that Draymond is not a point guard.
That's what's
it's tough to.
I'm watching all these talk shows trashing him. Like, yo, he sucks. He's been this guy who takes 4 shots and gets 4 points. Like,
I know they act like he should have 19, 20 every game. That's just not what he does.
He didn't have a lot of assists, but who was eating besides Steph and Clay? I'm pretty sure all 4 of his assists were to Clay.
Think so, yeah.
You know, so I just, his impact was limited. And the only way I noticed him was the fact that he wasn't even like a threat to score.
Right.
But none of it surprised me that he's not playing well, that, you know, he's not having the offensive impact. He never has that.
No, he doesn't. And when he does, it's purely off of his adrenaline from what he did on defense.
Yeah. And if he's not going to play, if he's not going to anchor the defense like Kerr, we cannot stick with the same lineup.
Right.
We just can't. Like, you got guys sitting there, throw them out there to be bad.
Yeah, that's okay. It happens.
Rather than keeping guys out there to do nothing.
Yeah.
We can't go out like that. There's just no way.
I told you earlier this season with Vogel, if you lose games and you don't play everybody, you don't try things, come on. I mean, what are we going to do? I can't respect that as a coach. You have Kuminga, the most athletic player on your team, and he isn't worthy of touching getting a finals minute while everyone else is getting out athletic throughout the game.
He got to start multiple times
this season, yeah.
Why even play him during the year if he's not ready when you need him most?
I thought that's why they played him during the year.
That's what I'm saying. It's just
and Otto Porter. Oh, go ahead.
Go. It's funny to me. It'll be too late if we're down 3-2 or even 3-1.
Right. Yeah.
Like, if it doesn't happen next game, it's over. It's too late.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, unless you win. If you win, then, you know, we'll see.
If they're up by 10 or 12 at any point next game, I would put Kuminga in right away. 12, put him in there. Because if he automatically has a negative impact, then just take him out. It's not like there's...
Exactly.
Yeah.
You just did it with Bielitsa. He had a first time you put him in, he played great. Last game, he was terrible.
Terrible. Got him out of there. Real quick.
You got him out. Never thought about him again. But Kuminga, who's just built to contribute with what I'm seeing on the court.
Yeah.
Nothing.
They're not throwing those lobs to Robert Williams over Kuminga. It's not happening. And he's someone who has a nose for the ball.
Yeah, man. He'll get a rebound. He'll get a block. He'll finish in traffic. Like, just something athletic.
All those missed dunks and layups not happening with Kuminga. No way. No way. I was going to say Otto Porter is another guy who has proved on multiple occasions that the longer you play him, the more he does to the rebounding of the game. And he keeps getting these limited minutes. They don't let him do anything substantial. If he's out there, it's just spot up shooting, and then he misses one shot and he's out the game. I know. He missed one shot and Kerr takes him out every time.
That's where I'm like, why is the rotation so like tight?
Yeah. And the pool party
you're already
rotation,
losing. Oh, dude.
that used to be only when they were like on a roll. Now he's putting it out there as if like they're the recovery team. Like, yo, we're down 18. Let's get Poole, Wiggins, Draymond, and the Splash Brothers out there and let's do this. Like, that's not how they have ever, that's not how they have been this entire season. They've been like, oh, we're all hot. Now let's get the small team in there. Not we're getting exposed. Yo, let's put our smallest five out there. It's not how, like, where did he get that from?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't have an explanation for how a rookie head coach understands his own roster better than Steve Kerr, who is in the middle of a dynasty, essentially.
Not only is he a rookie head coach, this is his first time with the roster. He wasn't like an assistant there.
That's insane to me.
Kerr's been with this team for like 8 years now. I mean,
and again, to me, the fact that we've talked about the Warriors as much as we have just proves how good Boston is, because I would ask you what they need, like what's Boston's keys to win the series. But if they don't turn it over, it doesn't even matter what the Warriors do.
Whoever leads the turnovers every game is going to lose every game.
And it's
just
been
plain and simple.
Like Boston through their playoff run had more troubles with it. It hasn't been the case to me. It's been a toss-up.
Yeah, I mean, the Warriors help with it every game. But yeah, it's seriously, I really think that's as simple. If someone's only put it as simple as I could, that's as simple as I could put it. Yo, whoever has the most turnovers this game is going to lose the game. Because both these teams,
so many unforced ones.
That's the issue. They're unforced, and you're the Warriors, and you're just giving the ball back to Boston.
I feel bad. I feel bad because Steph is going to have to hold the L if that's the deciding factor of the series.
Because he's the one leading them in turnovers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely like he keeps eating for a stretch, and then he's nowhere to be found for a while.
Right.
Like Boston has the versatility to do that. Brown could do that and then just contribute in other ways, like I said. Even Tatum has done it. Tatum, to me, hasn't had a phenomenal offensive game yet. He might not.
Now, I think this game 3 was the closest closest out of the 3.
Right. I mean, something might be wrong with his shoulder. I mean, clearly something is bothering him, but
yeah,
you
not
have
much
to match. You can't just cool off because the defense picks up the energy.
Right.
You have to find ways to continue to get good shots because Draymond's not doing it. Clay is taking whatever he gets. He's not getting good shots.
Right.
I mean, Wiggins is begging to be involved, but for whatever reason, that's not happening.
Yeah. I'm not sure why Wiggins isn't taking more shots. I don't think Peyton is unplayable, but I definitely think how they're using him is not really how he's going to be able to contribute in the series. He's a good defender, but he's not a defensive stopper. It's two different things.
You're throwing him out there like he's Pat Bev.
Right. He's someone who gets in passing lanes really well. He's someone that, gets his hand on the ball really well. He boxes out normally pretty well, and he gets out on the break. And that's what you need. But if somebody's already rolling, I don't throw him out there and say, yo, stop him. That's just not how it is.
But okay, again, you have a more athletic guy who did that all year.
Right.
And for some reason, we're waiting till the series is we're in danger territory to even potentially give that a chance.
Right. Yeah. And to your point too, it was strange how like one inside out and Tatum and Brown were just blowing past everybody. And like Steph and Poole were like working so hard to get past anybody. And they just open up for Tatum to go right to the rack.
Dude, I remember I made the crazy like Jaylen Brown's better than Kawhi comparison.
Mm-hmm.
With the way with how badly the Warriors have defended him, you'd think Jaylen Brown has fucking Paul George handles.
I know. And he really
He's
just makes one
he's
move
just
and just goes
yanking
by.
people, he's blowing by people. Like, yo, what is going on?
Yeah. Yeah. It's strange. Really strange.
I can't believe
I
how
don't get it.
badly they look like they're missing Iguodala. And he probably would have
He was
hurt
out
them
there.
more than I mean, he like re-injured himself after that first game, I think.
He played yesterday though. He played game 3
Yeah,
just for a second, but yeah.
I
They're
mean,
missing
it's
someone
not, it
like
doesn't
him.
mean anything. It's the same thing. If you put Kuminga out there for a minute and he makes like one mistake and that's it,
Yeah.
Steve, stick with your shitty 6-7 man rotation and let's go home in 5.
Right. You know, if the Warriors lose in 5, it's
No, dude, Steph is
Kerr
down
really
bad.
has to hold it. I would say Kerr has to hold it more than Steph if they lose in 5. If they lose in 6 or 7, then I would say, Steph, remember those 2 games where you led them in turnovers? This is what happens. But losing in 5, man.
It's
Because
bad, man.
again,
This is such a must win for Golden State.
yeah, definitely a must win. Yeah.
They're not getting 3 in a row. Nobody's gotten 2 in a row on Boston. 3 in a row. There's literally no way.
Do you think that game 2 was winnable for Boston? Like at any point in that game? Do you think, Boston can win this?
Yeah. About midway to halftime, midway second quarter to halftime, I thought Boston could have taken control and didn't.
Right. Gotcha.
Like I thought they could have gotten a few more stops. And again, I don't know if the third quarter still plays out the way it does, but at least if you come into it with a 10-point lead, you're in better shape.
Yeah. Thing is, the third quarter, I think the Warriors will win every third quarter. Win or lose the game, they'll win every third quarter of this series. They're just tough in the third quarter. That's just their thing.
Yeah.
But Warriors should have won every game. They've come close or could have won every single game. So that to me is speaking more
They
on
could lose in 5.
exactly. Like, yo, we could have won the first game. Yeah, you could have.
Oh,
You could have
man.
won this second game 3. Yeah, you could have. So
And Draymond might want to take it easy on the podcasting in between finals game.
it's insane to me that he runs home to
Do it
it's an
right
emergency.
away.
Yeah, like, yo, I just got out of the shower. What's up, guys? Like, come on, man. Like, he don't even eat after the game. He's already podcasting.
Yeah.
So do you still have the Warriors in 7? You said you're sickened by that?
Yeah.
There's really no reason to change. I don't
I'll
think.
ride or die. I still don't think anybody's winning 2 in a row.
No, you think it's just
But
going to alternate all the way to 7?
because Boston had that miracle fourth quarter in game 1, they might just take the series for that.
Yeah. I think I said Warriors in 6. Obviously they can't win it. Well, they could win it in 6. But obviously I'm no longer confident in them winning it in 6.
No.
So
It's
I'm
like
not going to change it
Boston
though.
clicks. It's like Boston clicks right when you think they're done.
So,
Like,
you
a
mean
lot of forced
series wise?
shots. No, just like in games sometimes. I just think every time you think like, oh wow, they still turn it over a lot. Oh, they still don't distribute the ball well, or Tatum still takes bad shots. Then all of a sudden they click. A lot of extra passes, great runouts defensively. Then things are back to normal for them.
They haven't had a full quarter of bad play yet. They've been very spotty, but I think just overall they're more consistent, because the times you're talking about when they are bad, where they lose control, is when, okay, we just had a quarter where we just were terrible. Everybody was terrible. Smart had 6 turnovers. Brown had 6 turnovers. Tatum had 6 turnovers, whoever it is, they'll have a full quarter of just being bad. But throughout this series, I think they've been able to never let a full quarter be that bad. They've been really consistent where, okay, one-on-one play, move the ball, let's take care of the ball, let's get good shots. And every once in a while, turnovers and bad shots sneak in there. And obviously the Warriors have not had that, not been able to stick together for a full quarter, every quarter. But we will see. We will see.
I will say Poole has to play better.
He does.
I think my only key was Steph and Poole have to step up, but they got to step up more than what I initially thought.
The thing is, I'm cool in the regular season. It's fun seeing Poole like take people one-on-one, but they have to figure out a way that he doesn't have to play one-on-one when he's out there. Go ahead.
I just think during the season, they used him as Clay a lot of the time.
Right.
Steph is not running the show. Clearly, Draymond is hit or miss with running the show.
Mm-hmm.
Just that don't mean we're playing Poole like he's fucking Clarkson.
Right.
Again, another kind of strange decision by Kerr, in my opinion.
Yeah, he comes in and he's the primary ball handler. He's starting the plays. He's running the plays. Like, that's just not who he is. To your point, he's better. He comes off the screens. He attacks quick. If he doesn't have it, he makes a play. That's who Poole is to me.
Yeah.
They haven't used him like that yet. So I agree, though. He does have to play better. They have to use him better, and he has to play better. He has to step up.
But if that's what you're depending on to win the series, you are in trouble.
No.
You are in serious trouble.
They don't have to depend on anything. They just have to stop turning the ball over, man. They really do.
Hey, you're preaching to Boston's choir right now.
I know, and Boston's done well.
Boston is reeled it in, not completely, because that's impossible.
Yeah.
But you look at, they still had 12, I think.
In this game? Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, but Brown and Tatum weren't, lose the ball, get stripped, like stumble on the way up for a layup. And all of a sudden, they're playing that much better. And Tatum is still not shooting great, but he's already playing that much better.
Yep. Smart had 5. He was the one who had most of the turnovers.
He got a little that third quarter. He got messy.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Well, we don't have any other topics to touch on today, right? Not really.
No, I don't want to. There are some crazy stuff going on in football, but not today. We will
the good old Commanders.
I'm sure we'll get more info on certain things.
Great start for the Commanders.
That's not even what I was talking about, but that's funny too.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I don't think we need to.
You might as well have stuck with football team. Honestly, I like football team better than Commanders.
Me too. Yeah. Commanders doesn't sound any less racist to me, to be honest with you. Like, it still sounds very oppressive. Part. Yeah.
It's funny, but it shouldn't be.
Yeah. Yep. All right, folks. Thank you for listening. As always, please subscribe, follow us. We'll be back maybe after next game. Definitely after game 5.
After game 5, we're gonna have to discuss this series a lot more.
Yep. So turn on notifications, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we'll see you guys next time.